Welcome back to Afternoon Live. Our next guest became an internet sensation, sharing his love of sandwiches and history. He put them together to create Sandwiches of History, and his new book celebrates his favorites. We welcome the author of Sandwiches of History, the cookbook, all the best and most surprising things people have put between slices of bread, Barry Enderwick. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on the book. It just came out last week, right?
Yes, last Tuesday.
How's it been?
It's been fun and surprisingly really well received, because you never know how these things are going to go.
Well, you have such a fun following online.
Yeah, they're great.
Tell me about your videos. I think you've been in my TikTok algorithm before of making these old-fashioned recipes for sandwiches.
Yeah, well, I was very curious about, what did people find interesting and delicious 100 years ago, 150 years ago. And so I started doing these videos online, initially on Instagram, and tasting them, and then maybe adding a few ingredients to make them something that I'd want to make again. And then I just started expanding and evolving from Instagram to TikTok to YouTube to Reddit to Facebook. So.
How did you begin this endeavor in the first place? Because you're not somebody with like a professional culinary background.
No, I am not. No, I have been curious about food. I love food, clearly. And I love cooking, and since I was in my 20s. So, and I'm always curious about everything. And so I was curious about this and like, what would it be like? And I had done a account, and I still do an account where I review interesting potato chips from around the world called In the Chips with Barry.
That's fun.
So I did have some experience on doing social media, not to this level though. This has been taking me completely by surprise in a good way.
And some of the sandwiches that you find in these old cookbooks, right, are very bizarre, some very delicious.
Yep.
And then you add your own kind of twist sometimes.
Yeah, I plus them up for the modern palate. And the idea was like, if I found this recipe, what was happening was a lot of the recipes fell into this sort of gray area of like, they're okay, but if you just added a thing or two, this would be pretty good.
Sure.
So the idea was, how can we bring this into something that a modern palate would enjoy? So that's where that started from. And
you're pretty adventurous, but I saw a recent video, I think, where there was like peanut butter and Roquefort cheese, and that was just a big no.
Oh,
that was a pass.
You're missing the French dressing, which back in
French dressing.
1916 was actually just vinaigrette. So vinaigrette, really tangy blue cheese, and peanut butter, not great.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that one I passed on.
Okay, let's talk about delicious sandwiches, of which you have many in your book. We have some favorites to share. Tell me about the Sophisticated Club.
The Sophisticated Club is...
Look at that.
I know, it's mid-century madness, but it's so good. And it's, it's got avocado, it's got coconut, it's got peanut butter, it's got ham, and you would not think that those things would go together.
Okay.
Fantastic. Absolutely love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the pleasant surprises.
Okay.
From Sandwiches of
Somehow it makes sense. Okay, now what's the pan? I don't even know what some of these names are.
Bagnat. It's from France, and it's basically like a salad niçoise in between bread. And what you do is you make this. It does have anchovy. It does have tuna as well. But you make this and you dress it and you put it in the bread. You wrap it really tight. You weigh it down overnight in the fridge so that all the juices soak into it, and it's so good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, now this last one has a very funny name. Please explain.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Something dusty. What?
The Dusty Nutter Gooser.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
My friend James Parks and his friend Ben Acosta write young adult graphic novels.
Okay.
And they put out a game called Land of Eam, and they asked if I would create a sandwich to celebrate that. So I know from experience that having peanut butter and duck work well together, and of course duck and fruit work well together. So I thought, okay, let's make this fun. We'll do Eggo waffles, peanut butter, smoked duck breast, and cherry Pop Rocks.
What?
Yes, it sounds insane, but it tastes good, and it's fun.
And Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks.
In the sandwich.
Cherry Pop Rocks.
Cherry. It has to be cherry?
Well, I mean, we want fruit with the duck, right? So yes.
Okay. I mean, this book seems like quite a journey then.
I think it's a lot of fun. I hope everyone thinks it's a lot of fun. I hope everyone makes it. Now, all the recipes were reworked so that they actually had amounts, because some of the old recipe books didn't have amounts. And then also they're all for one sandwich with a couple of exceptions.
Okay.
Because a lot of old recipes would be like, makes 20 sandwiches. And I don't know about you, but I don't always need 20 sandwiches.
No.
So I've made it so that it would be a single serving, and then you could just scale it up as you need.
Do you ever get sick of sandwiches at this point? Never.
Nope.
I don't think I could. I love a sandwich.
Yeah, and I only eat like half sandwich or a sandwich a day. right? That's my lunch.
We're reasonable people.
Right.
We're not crazy.
No.
And you have some deep dives too on condiments and kind of figuring out how everything works together.
Yeah, just interesting things I've learned along the ways about mustard and mayonnaise, and how mayonnaise started off as a very fancy French sauce, then became more of a salad dressing, and then became a jarred condiment that we now use today.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Has there been something surprising to you that you've loved or discovered in this journey of historical sandwiches?
Well, I would say the Sophisticated Club was quite the surprise. Like I fully expected that to be just this disaster. But every once in a while I get surprised by sandwich recipes, which is why, I get asked, why do you take such big bites? Why do you do these things?
Oh, sure.
And it's like, you never know. There are some I kind of know going into it, like the Crisco sandwich that I did recently.
Oh my gosh.
That's the correct reaction. Yeah, it was awful on a stick. And but there are others where it's just like, well, this could work, but I've never tried it. And one of the things I do is sandwiches of our history, where I try to capture sandwiches that people have in their families, like my grandma used to make, my grandpa used to make. And I did one recently that was like maple syrup and sardines, and I thought, this is going to be terrible. Brilliant. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah.
Amazing.
I know. So keep an open
something
mind.
salty, sweet happening there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm with you. Okay. Stick around.
Okay.
We're going to have some fun after the break.
Okay.
Want to let everybody know first that you do have events coming up. You can see Barry tonight for Sandwiches of History live. It's happening at 9:30 at Kelly's Olympian, and Barry has a special guest tonight. Our friend Bill Oakley will be joining him on stage, and stick around. Bill's going to be here with us shortly too. Again, Barry's book is Sandwiches of History, the cookbook. We'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.